Welcome guys to part 2 discussing my thoughts on the sequels to the Disney Renaissance films. I don't want to waste any more time on an introduction, so let's just get right into... Return of Jafar was just forgettable to me, so I decided to skip it and just go to the third and final Aladdin film that was a childhood favorite of mine, Aladdin and the King of Thieves. And I have to say, this is still a really fun movie. Flawed, yes, but still really enjoyable. This film shared many of the same aspects that I enjoyed from the first Aladdin and the Aladdin TV series, which this third film actually served as its series finale. I enjoyed the adventure aspect, the action in the movie, the characters, old and new, especially the 40 Thieves. I thought they were a really good addition to the Aladdin story, and I liked that most of them had really unique personalities. They stood out. They weren't just like background characters that you won't remember. In fact, if anything, I remembered the 40 Thieves more than I remembered Jasmine, who was really useless in this film. If there's one complaint I had about this movie, Jasmine remained useless. I mean, come on. This is Aladdin's wife or would soon to be wife. Why can't we include her more in this adventure? Like, literally, throughout the entire film, she's like, okay, go get your dad. I'll wait here. God, I can't wait to get married. That is what Jasmine was like throughout the entire film, and I don't remember her character being so complacent to be in the palace. If I remember correctly, she wanted to escape that life, and here she is like, I can't wait to get married. What did you do to Jasmine? That is just one of the few complaints I had about the film. One cool aspect about the film is that we finally get to meet Aladdin's dad, who turns out to be the King of Thieves. The guy's just so suave and smooth. He's so confident in his skills, and he just radiates coolness. I like seeing him bond with Aladdin, you know, kind of have this father-son bond, and we do get to explore like some of the issues that Aladdin had to deal with growing up alone and without a mother and father, and he gets to explain that to his dad, and I liked how their story wraps up. I won't give it away, but let me just say that it stayed true to the King of Thieves character. Oh, I almost forgot. There are also some really good and catchy musical numbers scattered throughout the film. Like the first one, there's a party here in Agrabah. Everybody's come around. The song did a really good job at capturing the grand and festive feel of this major wedding between Aladdin and Jasmine, who are finally, after how many years, getting married. And every character makes an appearance. Every character has a part to sing. And it just was a really great way of opening the film. And of course, my personal favorite, Welcome to the 40 Thieves, which did a fantastic job at detailing the life that these thieves lived in one musical number. One other complaint that I have about the film is that although I really loved hearing Robin Williams as the genie again, miss you every day, buddy, I will say that the genie's antics and pulp cultural references came off a bit forced in this sequel. Like, they weren't as funny and they weren't as lively and energetic as they were in the first film. I feel like they kind of just watered him down in this film. And honestly, you could have a drinking game with all the different references this guy makes throughout the film. In fact, you should do a drinking game for every time the genie makes a Disney reference. You will get drunk off your butt. All in all, Aladdin and the King of Thieves is a fun and enjoyable film, and if you're a fan of Aladdin, you should go check it out. My favorite sequel of the bunch, and one that has truly held up over the years, it is a solid follow-up to The Lion King. I, for one, loved the story in this film, and I was really happy that they carried on the tradition that was set forth by the original film by having a Shakespearean play be the basis of its story. The first one was heavily inspired by Hamlet, and this one was heavily inspired by one of the classics, Romeo and Juliet. I'm honestly very shocked that I didn't figure that out until now. And believe it or not, the film's story actually has a powerful underlining message to it. No matter what your background is, what you believe in, or what your culture is, at the end of the day, we are all the same here on Earth. We are one. That is such a strong message to put in the film. It really helps this sequel to stand out from its predecessor. I mean, the predecessor's story was a very simple story about a kid rising up to be the king that he was born to be. But in this film, there's more to it. There's much more layers to the story. And I just thought that was really well done and is still relevant today. And I know I'm probably gonna get some hate for this, but I think that the story in The Lion King 2 is much more compelling and deep than the story in The Lion King. Please don't kill me! And the characters are great as well, starting with Simba, who has truly grown from the last time we've seen him as this arrogant, carefree, immature kid who doesn't want to take responsibility for anything, Hakuna Matata, to this really wise and strong leader. He really felt like a king throughout this entire film. And he also had a really strong and dynamic relationship with his daughter Kiara. He really felt like a father to her. He taught her life lessons, protected her, and watched over her most of her life. Not to undermine Kiara as a character, she's great as well, displaying wisdom and understanding beyond her years. I found her character just extremely likable and relatable. And then there's Kovu, the adopted son of Scar, which I always found kind of weird because he kind of looks like Scar. Couldn't you just make him Scar's son? I'm nitpicking. Anyway, he's actually really good and very layered. This character goes through a lot of strife and conflict throughout the film, battling between what he was taught to do by his mother to how he feels in his heart for Kiara. It just made for such a compelling and dynamic character. And another thing that this film did extremely well compared to its predecessor is handling the romance between Kiara and Kovu. It was very convincing. I actually felt a strong bond between them compared to the relationship between Simba and Nala. And the last good thing about the film is its many musical numbers. Yeah, sure, they pale in comparison to the iconic musical numbers of The Lion King, but I mean that goes for almost any film that isn't part of the Disney Renaissance. If you're gonna go toe to toe with The Lion King, you're gonna lose. But for what they were in this film, they were serviceable. I enjoyed them. I found them to be catchy, and I could listen to them over and over again. Like the opening one, He Lives in You. It's a really good song and kind of inspirational. I was really touched by the song. Another one called In You Pendi, where the passion fruit grows sweet. It's a really catchy, upbeat love song, and I like the animation that accompanied it. And then my personal favorite, We Are One. Again, tying into the overall theme of the entire film, I just thought it was a really solid song. Now, I did have a couple problems with the film, like its pacing. Some of the characters I felt like were kind of pushed to the wayside, like Timon and Pumbaa. They didn't really have much to do. Nala didn't really have much to do. We didn't get to really explore how the Outlanders ended up in the Outlands, or the fact that Scar had children. How did he get children? He has like this one line that's voiced by Andy Dick, and I'm like, oh god, not Andy Dick. Why did he have to be in a Lion King movie? But luckily his character dies, and he dies in a pretty pathetic way. It's actually pretty funny. I think about it. You can look it up on Twitter. I talked about it. But other than that, this film is just a really solid follow-up to The Lion King. I mean, it's really hard to follow up The Lion King being one of the best Disney films ever made, but for what they did here with The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride, I thought they succeeded. And that's the end to part 2. Stay tuned later on today for a very special TV review that I know you guys are gonna really get a kick out of. And stay tuned tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for part 3 of this incredibly long video. Again, I'm sorry about it. But hey, that means more Disney Week videos for you guys. And stay tuned for more Disney Week videos coming down the line. And until then, guys, peace, YouTube.